Good morning, everyone. I hope that you can all see us. I hope that you're doing well this morning. S- So, I hope that you can all see us. No? Okay, let me just check if we are live. Okay, perfect. I can. Okay, great. So, my understanding is that we are live already. And officially, I wanted to welcome everyone to the second edition of the GSGS series of webinars. And today we have special guests from Kenya that are going to share quite an extensive experience and very interesting experience from their side, from practical perspective. Um, then then we would proceed with some presentations from their side, and then we are going to work through the end. After they complete their presentations, we are going to go through some questions. Please follow the chat box. You can say good morning, you can say where you are joining from. It would be very interesting to see where all the participants are joining the session from. And then please feel free to pose your questions during the presentations. Once the presenters are completed with their talks, we are going to go through each one of the presentations. So I just want to introduce who is in the room this morning. So we can you know who who you're seeing at the moment. We have engineer John Irungu, who is going to give one of the presentations. He is the general manager of NAWA's call. Then we have Joseph Gita Gitanji. I hope I said it correctly, Joseph. He's the general manager of Fresh Life Operations at Sanergy in Kenya. We also have Joy Ringi from Merit University, and Joy is our kind host that has organized this session. My name is Konstantina. I am at IAG Delft, and I am going to run the technical support on the background and the question and answers discussion. And we also have Amaka from IAG, who is also an alumni, who is also supporting the technical arrangements of the session. If there is nothing more to add, Joy, I would ask you to say good morning to everyone as an organizer, and we are going to proceed to the first speaker. Joy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tina, for this. I really take this opportunity to welcome you all into this second edition of the GSGS series. Mary University of Science and Technology is the host. We are excited to have you listen to this exciting talk on tales from sanitation practice. We have two exciting talks of innovations which are happening within the Kenyan space. Thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you so much, Joy. So I would like to present our first presenter, Joseph, who is going to share some of his experience from Sanergy. Joseph is in charge of dislodging and implementing post-sale strategies, which include manufacture, installation, maintenance, and servicing of sanitation products, which are from Fresh Life toilets, inborn Fresh Fit toilets in our network. He oversees overall customer experience To ensure continued growth and customer retention, he has 15 years of experience in marketing, customer support, and operations. Joseph holds a Bachelor in Commerce degree from the University of Nairobi, a postgraduate diploma in marketing from the Chartered Institute of Marketing in the UK, and an MBA from the United States International University. Joseph, the floor is yours. I'm just going to add the platform.
Thank you, Tina, and thanks to everyone. Welcome to the GSGS Forum. Pleasure for me to be in this forum today. It's actually my first time, and it's great to be here. As Tina has introduced, I am representing Sanaji, and I'll be taking you through some of the work that we've done in as far as sanitation is concerned. Just as an introduction, so we provide non-seaward sanitation solutions in Africa's growing cities, and we're starting off with Nairobi. And so my presentation will cover that. And just as an overview, I will just start by giving you a broad overview of the sanitation situation globally, and then I'll zero in on the situation in Kenya, and then finally I'll talk about what solutions that we have in terms of tackling that sanitation challenge. So just from a global perspective, statistics show that we have about 1 billion people who lack access to safe sanitation within the globe. And while the existing infrastructure is struggling to keep pace, we have about 60% of residents within the urban informal settlements who really do not have access to improved sanitation. And as a result, obviously, we have a lot of fatalities that come as a result of sanitation related issues, and also the economic impact because of the lost opportunities that would otherwise have been used for more productive economic activities. Um, Coming down to Kenya, we have about 60% of residents of the urban informal settlements actually residing in slums in most of the major cities. So you're looking at Nairobi, for example, Mombasa, Kisumu, and such other bigger cities. And some of the statistics also indicate that about 90% of all the waste uh, end up being unsafely managed, and therefore contaminating the environment where people live. And obviously, now looking at some of the attendant challenges in terms of child mortalities, especially under 5 years, going to around 17,000 annually, and obviously also the economic impact in terms of lost productivity and time that would have been used to engage in economic activities. Um, so why is it difficult for cities to deliver sanitation, especially in growing cities? Uh, since we launched our operations way back in 2011, we've been able to identify some two key challenges that governments and entities face in terms of being able to provide safe sanitation for residents, especially those living in urban informal settlements. The first one, whereas we have sanitation facilities provided in form of toilets, there's really no proper system in terms of operations and maintenance of these facilities, so that you find a lot of these facilities are either in disrepair or cannot be used safely. And then when it comes to the management of waste, we have quite some systemic challenges or gaps that exist in between the containment of the waste all the way to safe management or treatment of the same. And therefore, for example, in informal settlements, you'll find some of the methods they use to manage the waste in terms of transportation is really unhygienic, as you can see in that photo there. And most of the waste ends up being dumped in the waterways or maybe just in the drainages. So almost like transferring a problem from, say, a pit to the environment, and that poses a health hazard to the residents. As a matter of fact, a study that was done way back in 2018 on the management of fecal sludge in Nairobi revealed that 66% of the fecal waste generated in Nairobi ends up being untreated in open waterways. And that causes heavy environment pollution. Just for info, so a sheet flow diagram is just a diagrammatic representation of how the waste flows from containment to disposal or reuse. So you can already see that's a huge chunk of waste that is actually ending up untreated and polluting the environment. The second challenge that we face is whereas solutions, sewers have been proposed as a solution, we all know that they are quite expensive in terms of infrastructural development, and they may not be appropriate in all situations, especially in the urban informal settlements where space is a big challenge. And obviously, because of the economic outlay or funding required, it takes long to build sewers. So that really makes them a big challenge in terms of looking at sewers as a solution for the sanitation in the urban informal settlements. Um, so a study that was done in Dakar, which is a city that's comparable to Nairobi, revealed that it takes about $56 per person per year to provide safe sanitation to urban residents. And that's a huge capital outlay, kind of reinforces the point that I had raised earlier. And then when you look at the investment that's being put by governments, it's really low compared to the capital outlay that's required. You're looking at, for example, the Kenyan government providing about $7, and they hope to increase that to about 15, which is still wouldn't match up to the requirement that you would need to provide safe sanitation by way of sewers. Um, so having talked about the challenges, what kind of solutions do we have? And so we have looked at as kind of a system-based solution that would tackle the challenges that cities face in as far as containment, transportation, as well as treatment and reuse of the waste is concerned. And so we have built a repertoire of low-cost, high-quality sanitation products that are focused on the residents of the urban informal settlements. And then on a regular basis, we have a system that ensures that that waste is removed safely to a central processing plant for treatment of the same and conversion into useful end products. Um, Right now, as we speak, we have about four solutions that we provide, and I'll be speaking about this in the coming slides. The first one is what you see there, which is a urine diverting dry toilet that is franchised to residents within the urban informal settlement, so whether they be landlords or people who are running small businesses, and they are able to run this as facilities that will provide safe sanitation for the residents of the urban informal settlements. And so as you can see, it's a durable and an attractive facility that is able to contain the waste, as well as provide the dignity for the residents of the urban informal settlements who would otherwise be using other options that probably may not be as hygienic. The second option is what we call an in-home toilet, which we call fresh fit. So this basically is one that somebody can acquire and they can use it within the home, so inside the house. And the focus for this, ideally, we are looking at it as a solution for either people living with disabilities or the aged and the elderly, or people who are sick and may not have opportunity to access a standard toilet facility. So that's a solution that we have provided to be able to cater for that. The other solution that we have is we also realize that when it comes to sanitation, obviously people have different options in as far as sanitation is concerned. And one of these is the pit latrines. And a number of people have already invested in this. And so they may not have sufficient space to have an additional facility. So in way of our fresh life toilet. So what we've done is to come up with a model that allows us to actually convert the pit latrines and retrofit to be able to have a fresh night toilet that I've described earlier and can be used by these residents. So it's basically ensuring how do you convert an already existing facility that may not be as hygienic to a facility that will be usable, that will be hygienic and provide a good user experience. So that's what we have done within the urban informal settlements. And then on a regular basis, as I've said, we have a team that is professionally trained and is able to remove this waste from the community. And we ensure that this facility, this waste is properly secured and sealed. If you remember the first image that I showed you earlier in terms of how residents manage pit emptying, we have come up with a system that ensures that the waste is properly sealed and therefore it doesn't leak as transportation happens, and so is able to be safely removed from the community. And also the team that does that is properly protected with the proper PPE equipment so that then they are able to handle the waste properly. And we also do provide vaccinations on a regular basis to ensure that yeah, should they have any exposure to pathogens, then that doesn't affect them. So we provided a solution that is wholesome, that is able to address the challenges that communities face in as far as sanitation is concerned. So that's what I've just talked about in terms of the containment of the waste. So you can see that container is properly sealed, and so there's no leakage that can contaminate the environment. And the team obviously is properly covered in terms of coveralls, gloves, masks, and gumboots to ensure that they are properly secured to handle that kind of waste. So once that is collected, it is consolidated into one facility, and then it is transported and removed from the community to a waste processing facility for treatment and conversion into useful end products. In terms of the conversion, we ensure that 100% of the waste that we receive is converted, is properly processed and converted into useful products in terms of organic fertilizer as well as insect-based animal feed. Obviously, if you look at this from the agricultural sector, these are some of the inputs that are really required in terms of, for example, improving the soil condition for the organic fertilizer, as well as the protein content in animal feed that obviously will be required to improve the quality of animal production. So that's just a representation of some of the processes we have within the processing plant. So we use the black soldier flies uh, uh, that lay eggs, and then the eggs hatch into larvae, and that larvae feeds on the fecal waste. And at that larvae stage, they have a very high protein content, which then is harvested and can be used now as animal feed. Now, the residue that remains is what is converted into organic fertilizer that is used on the farms in Kenya. So that's another product that we have. Those are briquettes that are used in terms of providing energy. Obviously, with the deforestation, obviously for purposes of charcoal, that poses a big challenge to the environment. And so we provide an alternative solution that would ensure that our forests are not depleted for purposes of getting charcoal for energy. Now, I talked about four solutions. So the first three ones were the urine diverting toilet. The second one was the in-home toilet that we call the fresh fit. The third one was the pit conversion that I just mentioned, retrofitting pits into our type of toilets. And now the fourth one now looks into the challenge that I raised earlier in terms of fecal sludge management. So the way the pits are emptied is not, number one, hygienic, and obviously the waste then ends up in the community. So we looked at how then can we address this, much as we are providing a solution in terms of toilets. And so in this, we provide a safe containment facility that ensures that the pit emptiers have a place where they can safely empty the waste, and also can be able to be properly equipped with the right PPE, so that then they also do not contaminate themselves. And then so we contain this waste in a facility, and then we are able to ensure that that waste doesn't end up in the community. So it's sort of formalizing an informal way of pit emptying, and providing some aspect of hygiene as well as dignity to the people that are providing, of course, this essential service. So far we are able to, on a daily basis, serve about 150,000 people within the urban informal settlements in Nairobi with safe sanitation. And obviously, at a cost that's much lower than what you would expect within if you were to use sewers, and therefore quite a cost-effective solution that is able to guarantee some good return on investments. In terms of the environment and, of course, climate, all of us are aware that climate change is a big challenge globally. And so the way in which we are contributing to this, obviously, is in terms of the containment of the waste. So on an annual basis, we are removing 40,000 tons of waste, which would otherwise have ended up in the environment, polluting the environment. And obviously, 100% of this, as I mentioned earlier, is properly treated, as well as converted into useful end products, and also beginning to contribute to uh, offsetting of the carbon emissions in the environment. Um, and so our solution for the organic fertilizer has been very effective in terms of helping farmers condition the soil, improve the soil condition, and therefore contributing to higher yields in terms of the results that they get from their farming activities, which is a significant input in as far as tackling the challenge of availability of food or production of food for the country as well. And obviously, as we do this, we are also looking at the economic impact that comes from the opportunities that have been created. So we run a franchise operation. So these facilities are operated by residents within the urban informal settlements, who also employ workers who work for them to ensure that that is happening. And also within our operations, all our teams involved in the collection and management of the waste, a large percentage of those do come from the communities where we work. So again, contributing to improving the livelihoods of the communities in which we operate. Again, towards the SDGs, obviously we are contributing towards the UN SDGs in terms of improvement, not just within the sanitation space, but also in other sectors as well. And obviously working collaboratively with government and other entities to ensure that this is properly tackled. So what's our goal? So we have ambitious goals in terms of being able to increase our reach to serve more people, not just in Nairobi, but beyond. Our goal is to serve about 1 million people with hygienic sanitation that is actually going to be cheaper than the solutions that would be available. And we've started off that in Nairobi, and more recently have launched our operations in Kisumu. So we are on target to really get to this ambitious goal, and of course, working with different collaborators to ensure that this is achieved. And part of that is, as I just mentioned, is partnerships with governments and other entities at different levels. For example, in Kisumu, we were able to partner with the sanitation utility there, and we've been able to launch operations there, and we are continuing to expand our reach to the communities within these areas. So working with government and other operators has been very, very successful in helping us achieve our goal as we continue to tackle the sanitation challenge, not just in Kenya, but within Africa and the rest of the world. Thank you very much. I think I am going to stop there. I'm sure there will be opportunity to engage in question and answer as we continue. Thank you, and back to you, Tina.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Great presentation. We already had quite a few questions on the group chat, so I'm going to keep them for the discussion part after the next presentation, which gives me the great pleasure to introduce you to the next speaker. This is John Irungu. I'm just going to. Okay. John, I hope that you can hear us. Just give us 1 second. Okay, I'm going to load his presentation. We had some technical challenges with him through the whole morning. So I'm really hoping that we are not in the middle of this part. We have a plan B for that, but let's hope it's going to work. While we are waiting for John to go live, I would like to introduce him. So engineer John Irungu is the general manager of Nawas Coal, which so he's got an extensive background experience in process and energy engineering involving principally biomass energy technologies, improved cook stoves, combined heat and power, solid waste management, energy recovery facilities along low energy design and CO2 emissions reduction, and wash technologies. He's got an extensive experience with project managing these multidisciplinary teams on projects covering technical advisory work, bankable feasibility studies, due diligence, and independent engineer work for waste to energy projects. So this is John. John, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, and thanks for the introduction.
Perfect. I'm so glad that you managed to to join right on time. So the floor is yours. I just kindly ask me to move to the next slide, and I would gladly do it for you. I'll be here on the background, but I would remove myself.
Thanks, Tina. My name is John Irungu. I work for Nawasco, and I'm excited to share the journey in sanitation that Nawasco, our mother company, has gone through to establish an organization that is unlocking the opportunities in sanitation field. I'll introduce the company. Nawasco was established in 2018 to offer solutions in waste management that includes the wastewater and also solid waste or organic market waste. The company is located in Nakuru County at the sewer treatment plant. This is where we receive sludge from the Nakuru city now, from both the low income areas and also the sewered population as well as the non-sewered population. The main aim of the company is to provide safe collection, containment, and transportation of sludge. And we don't stop there. We look at the entire value chain of the sanitation from when someone goes to the toilet, they flush the the fecal sludge, and they don't care, they don't mind where it goes. It comes to the sewer treatment plant for further treatment. And for those who are not connected to the sewer system, those who are using on-site sanitation, we have technologies that ensures there is safe collection, containment, and transportation of the same. The reason this company was established was to sort the sanitation challenges that the city, the Nakuru city, was facing. We had pit emptiers who would operate in the evening or at night. They empty the toilets, then probably we are not sure where that sludge would head into. So we came up with a solution whereby we sat down with those pit emptiers, the county government of Nakuru, and our partners to provide a modern solution for proper emptying of these toilets, proper transportation, proper handling of sludge, ensuring even those who are collecting this sludge at the source, they are well protected from the issues that emanate from handling of sludge. We all know that sludge contains a number of pathogens, be it Salmonella, Shigella. We also have Ascari eggs, and these would affect the health of the residents in Nakuru. If this sludge is not properly collected and contained, it will end up in open drainage. And what this means, through the storm drain, it will end up into Lake Nakuru's, and we have seen the challenges that we have been experiencing with Lake Nakuru water level rising, the flamingos disappearing. So our aim is to make sure that Nakuru town is green and it's also clean. And again, Lake Nakuru is pink. We bring the flamingos back. So that's the aim of our school. So we work together in collaboration with the county government of Nakuru. We also have our partners who supported the establishment of this organization. The project was funded by EU, and implementation of the project that was called Nakuru County Sanitation Program was done by NAWASCO, that is Nakuru Water and Sanitation Services Company Limited, in partnership with Vitens Evidence. We also had Aquafall, we had the Sanitation, we had Egerton University, Umade Trust, and Scott Limited. And collaboratively, we came up with a solution for containment. Sanitation blocks were constructed through the project, and we looked at the value chain, the sanitation value chain. What opportunities does it present along the value chain? First, when you are collecting those pit emptiers, there is a source of revenue for them. For transporters, those are the exhaust truck drivers and operators. It's an opportunity for them. When it comes to the treatment plant, what happens? We have the sludge. What can we do with it? So we looked at various products that can be made out of this fecal sludge. One of it was a biofertilizer, which we established is quite viable. When you treat the sludge through probably heating, through carbonization, you get the biochar. They condition the soil and the yield is great. When you also produce biofuel in form of either pellets or briquettes, how do they perform? We did that research and did a number of publications. We have, you can visit our website and get that all information, how the journey we started, how it went, and how we developed the products from the fecal sludge. So these pit emptiers, we train them, we advise them on how to protect themselves, be it providing them with protective gears, and also advising them to get inoculated against common diseases or health issues that emanate from handling of sludge. So what happens when you get sludge at Nawaskor? Allow me to take you through the journey of how we produce briquettes from fecal sludge. And I know most of you probably asking yourself, can you really eat something maybe cooked using briquettes or charcoal made from fecal sludge? Yes, we do that, but we ensure it's safe for use. Let me take you through the journey, how the briquettes are made. What's the next slide? So the first step is receiving the sludge at the treatment plant, either from the on-site using the vacuum trucks or from the sewer system. So it combines at the Nawasco treatment plant, and that's where Nawasco company is located. So the first thing is to ensure that we get rid of the excess moisture. So from the sewer treatment plant, we have a conventional system where sludge settles by gravity and the effluent is further treated to ensure that it's safe before it is discharged to wherever it's discharged. But the sludge, which is our main interest, is then dried in the drying beds for production of briquettes. Go to the next slide. So this is how the sludge is dried. We have greenhouses and we have the drying beds. So the sludge comes with a lot of moisture content. About 98% is water. So it dries through evaporation, and then the workers who are protected with the safety gears and also inoculated against the health issues, they safely collect this sludge when it is dry. Because one point I would like people to notice that when the sludge is dry, one may assume that it's free from pathogens or any other harmful bacteria, but it's not. We have established that some pathogens are very persistent. At 100 degrees Celsius, they still exist. So you need to heat this sludge to more than 250 degrees for you to be sure that sludge is free from any pathogen. So the first step is to collect the sludge. The second step is now burning this sludge. And I won't take you through the journey that we went through when we were doing research before now. We went into now modern ways of treating the sludge. Go to the next slide. So initially, when you are starting this journey, before you invest into commercial or high-level technology, you have to establish whether the sludge or the products that you are making will meet the end user's expectation, will be within the standard set by the CAPE or the other regulatory bodies. So we did a research using simple technologies together with the student from Egerton University. So we improvised the way of burning this sludge to eliminate the pathogens and other harmful bacteria. So the technology that we are using then was a simple drum fitted with a chimney, and you just heat that sludge, observe the behavior of the smoke to know or to establish whether your sludge has been carbonized. For the sawdust, because we combine the sludge with biomass materials, in our case, we use either sawdust, wherever possible, you can use sugar bagasse, coffee husk, or any biomass materials that is a waste, is a nuisance waste. So that's how we used to go about it. Burn it in an open pan for the biomass, keep turning it. It's literally like you are cooking the biomass until it all turns black. For the sludge, you just burn it in a drum until it carbonizes or it turns black. And at that point, you are assured that you have eliminated the pathogens. But now we have since replaced this kind of technology with a more modern technology that are efficient and safe to operate. Go to the next slide. So these are some of the technologies that we have invested on. The first one is a dewatering equipment that is meant to reduce the moisture content of the sludge before the sludge now goes to the drying beds for further drying. Once the sludge is dry, it goes to the carbonization unit. That's the second item you're seeing. It's a big plant with a capacity of 10 tons per day. This is where we ensure that the product you are going to give out to the end user is safe. This is where the magic happens. This is where all the pathogens get eliminated. This is where the smell gets eliminated, because smell is a gas trapped within the sludge. And this is what now ensures anyone can now handle the briquettes at home without any fear, because we know these products will get to the household. Your kid may pick this piece of briquette, put in their mouth. Are they safe? Yes, they are. The temperatures within that plant is above 400 degrees. There is no pathogen that survives that temperatures. We get tar as a byproduct. It's part of the volatile matters that gets eliminated. And at that point, the materials that comes out is biochar or carbonized material. The reason for this, we need to increase the carbon content of the materials just to be same as the charcoal, because our briquettes replaces or provides substitute for the ordinary charcoal. So that's where the material gets treated. And then the next step is mixing, because we carbonize the two materials separately, the sawdust and the fecal sludge. We use equal ratios, that is 50% biomass and 50% sludge. So we have a batch mixer. That item you're seeing is a batch mixer to ensure that we have homogeneous mix. Once that one is done, we need now to mold them into round-shaped briquettes. But carbon in nature cannot bind by itself. So we have to add a binding agent. At Nawasco, we use molasses as the binding agent. We dilute 1 liter of molasses in 20 liters of water and then gradually feed it into a rotating drum, and slowly it will form the round-shaped briquettes. After that, we take it out for drying to get rid of the water, and you have your final product. Go to the next slide. So basically, this is the entire process in a summary. And we say our product is from household to household because we want to achieve a circular economy. What do we mean by this? You go to the toilet at home, you do your business, then we do our business by ensuring there is safe collection, containment, and transportation of the same to the treatment plant. And then we do the drying of sludge. We heat the sludge at very high temperatures, we eliminate the pathogens. The next step is we form the briquettes, we package them, and then we transport the end users back to the household for use. Again, people will use briquettes, they cook, they feed, they do whatever they do, they go to the toilet, we get the sludge, again the cycle continues. So that's the entire process. And that's what we are doing currently. But what do we want to achieve? Or what have we been achieving by this? Go to the next slide. So these are our value proposition. One, we want to provide an alternative solution to charcoal users. As you are aware, the government has since banned the burning of charcoal and logging. So people are left without a solution. Currently, the prices of LPG gas has really gone up. The price of alternative fuel has also gone up. A sack of ordinary charcoal cannot be afforded by majority. So people are left without an alternative. But now this is where Nawasco or Nakuru County comes in to provide a solution or to fill this gap. So how is briquette compared to the ordinary charcoal? Our Africa-based briquettes burns 4 times longer than ordinary charcoal. The advantage of this briquette is that it's compatible with your cook stove at home or your jiko. So you don't have to buy a new vessel to use with your briquettes. So that's one advantage. It will save you money. This is because if it burns 3 or 4 times longer than ordinary charcoal, so the amount of charcoal you use in a month, the briquettes can take you for 2 or 3 months. Again, low carbon emissions compared to the ordinary charcoal. So this means health to our end users, and also they save a lot because they don't make frequent visits to the hospital. And this also is reflected when we safely collect the sludge. The health related issues at the low income areas and other areas is avoided. Also, we achieve the improved sanitation, and we are also saving environment. Nawasco provides water, and if we don't conserve the water catchment, and Nakuru, as majority are aware, relies on underground water. So if we don't replenish this, if we don't plant trees, if we don't save the trees that are available, we are soon going to be in trouble. But we want to continue serving our customers with water. But how do you ensure this? If we provide alternative fuel for cooking, people will not cut trees. Those trees will contribute in terms of rainfall, and also ensuring that the underground water is always available. So how does it work? We have established through research and collaboration with learning institutions that 1 ton of briquettes of macar.com, our product is called macar.com, is an equivalent to an average of 88 trees. So every time we sell 1 ton of briquettes, we are saving 88 trees. So ask yourself, have you planted a tree? Have you saved a tree through use of eco-friendly products like macar.com or briquettes made from human waste? So that's our goal, to continue saving trees, saving environment, forest cover, and achieve the SDGs. Go to the next slide. So that's our products. That's how it burns. Clean, no smoke, no smell, safe for use, no health related issues. In fact, people don't believe it's made from human waste because of the way it appears, just like normal charcoal, without any smell or any harmful element in it. Now, where are we at the moment? Go to the next slide. So these are the SDGs that our product is addressing. One is the SDG 6, this clean water and sanitation. So we achieve this through improved sanitation and management of fecal sludge. Then we are addressing the SDG 7, affordable clean energy, through the use of macar.com. And we are saying we currently produce about 20 tons per month, and we want to scale up and produce 10 tons per day so that we are able to reach out to as many as we can so that we save a lot. In terms of SDG 8, the decent work and economic activity, the project or the company has created job opportunities, it's creating circular economy, as well as profit for the company. If you look at the SDG 9, industry innovation and infrastructure, there is growth of manufacturing industry. We're also encouraging students to become innovative and provide local technology or solutions that can be used in fecal sludge management. If you look at the SDG 11, that is sustainable cities and communities, our main aim, or the Nakuru County want to be clean. Remember, Nakuru County was considered the cleanest town, I think, in East and Central Africa. So we want to get back there. So we want to provide these solid waste management solutions, the wastewater management solution, and providing technologies or products that will protect or conserve the environment. So if you look at the climate action, we are saving trees, we are conserving forest, water catchments. So we are addressing these in a unique way. SDG 17, that's partnership for the goals. We have partnership the development partners that we are working closely with, the county government, the water utility, that is Nawasco, and the private companies who are our distributors and our marketers out there. So go to the next slide. So this is where we are at the moment. Currently, we are producing macar.com or briquettes using fecal sludge. We are at 20 tons of production per month. We want to scale up to at least 10 tons per day. And we want to use as much local technologies or innovations as possible. We don't want to rely on importation every now and then. So we want to create that, to build that capacity of our students, of our artisan, and the youths and women. So we sell macar.com in Nakuru City, but now we're expanding. We are selling in other regions, and we have also received a lot of interest from other counties and regions who want us to replicate what we are doing in their respective regions, because everybody wants to conserve and save environments. We go to the last slide. Yep. So where we want to be, before I say thank you, is we want to scale up the production of briquettes. We also diversify, go into large scale production of biogas, be it biofertilizers, and other technologies that we can maybe tap the opportunities that is presented by the fecal sludge and provide some of these solutions to the customers or to the citizens of Kenya. Which are cheaper and affordable and safe to use. Thank you. And I think the questions now are welcome. Back to you, Tina.
Thank you so much, John. A very interesting presentation as well. Yes, it was great to see. Yeah, we have plenty of questions actually on the chat box. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to include Joseph as well to the panel. I'm going to remove your presentation. So John, I would have Joseph, and I'm going to add Joy as well. So we can jointly have a look at the questions. So I'm just going to go one by one through the chat box, and then you can potentially address them. So the first question is, I guess it could be relevant for both speakers. Maybe Joy also can add something. Please comment on the sanitation as a human right. Is the population aware of their right to sanitation? Is there space for sanitation service providers or subsidy for the service you provide? So I think that's a relevant question to both of you, both of the speakers. Maybe one of you can start.
Yeah, I can go first. Yeah, I mean, definitely sanitation is our access to safe sanitation is a human right, and we've embedded this in all our operations, and that's why we're reaching out to really the people who are the bottom of the pyramid, as you would call them. Um, but obviously, you also have to match the 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 need for the service and uh, the ability of government to provide the same. So it's a question of how do you get in more operators to actually be able to provide this service, and how does then do you engage government to actually be open to options that are available to be able to address sanitation, as opposed to just focusing on maybe one size fits all. So it's more of engagement, lobbying, and working with different entities and actors at different levels to actually work together to provide sanitation. That's how it's going to be more accessible and available to many.
Thank you, Joseph. John, would you like to add?
Yeah, I think Joseph has captured that very well, and I think it's right for every citizen to have a clean and accessible proper sanitation, and it's the goal of the county and everyone, all the stakeholders, to ensure that the citizens are provided with safe and clean sanitation. So the policymakers, it's a journey that involves all the stakeholders to come together and have public participation, because jointly you can achieve the main goal of safe sanitation. Yes, so I agree with Joseph. It's involvement of the stakeholders, having the right policies in place, having the right regulations, and ensuring that there is adherence to these policies. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So maybe we can move to the next question. Unless Joy, do you want to add anything on that particular question?
Yes, Tina, maybe I can add something about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be talking in the on the part that is asking, is the population aware of their right to sanitation? On this aspect, I would say no. Our population, our Kenyan population, is not aware of their right to sanitation. I still think we have some work to do in the form of letting this population know that it's a constitutional right that they are provided with basic sanitation. They are upgraded such that they can be able to ask for safe sanitation. But as it is, we really don't talk about sanitation, and we really don't like saying that we don't have sanitation. We can't demand this from the government. So I think we still have some work to do to the population, especially those in the informal slum settlements. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy. Next question. I think that's related to Joseph's presentation. Has the effectiveness of the waste byproducts tested against the original products, briquettes versus charcoal?
Actually, I think that will also be more relevant to John because he's the one who's
And
dealing
as well,
with
yes.
with this.
So both
Yes,
of you
yes.
can also reply.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think on a high level, I think the feedback we've received is that the briquettes do perform very well in terms of the energy or serving the energy needs of the communities. I
Mhm.
think the aspect of also like burning slowly and being able to provide enough energy for cooking is a big value add to communities, especially compared to charcoal, some of which burns very fast, and then you have to keep adding, and that adding means you have to get more charcoal, which means more trees have to be felled so that then charcoal can be available. But I think I'll let John chime in.
Thank you. Thank you, Joseph. John, would you like to
Yes,
add? Yeah.
yes, it's a good question because we are really encouraging people to shift from use of ordinary charcoal to this briquette because of three reasons. One, uh, in terms of performance of briquettes, in terms of heat value, we call it calorific value, it's comparable to the ordinary charcoal. In fact, we have established, I don't know whether it's because of what Citizen feeds on, uh, the calorific value of fecal sludge is slightly higher than that one of wood-based charcoal. If you carbonize well, so if you blend it with sawdust, carbonized sawdust, you get at a level in terms of heat value which is slightly above the ordinary charcoal. In terms of burning span, the charcoal briquette burns longer. So you have value for whatever in terms of the heat value you are getting from briquettes. For the poultry farmers who use the briquettes in their hatcheries for brooding the chicks, they have reported back that initially they used to maybe experience high rate of mortality for their chickens, but upon now switching to briquettes, that has reduced significantly, and that's because the emissions by the briquette is slightly lower compared to the briquettes to the ordinary charcoal, and these we have established through lab analysis. So yes, the briquettes supersedes the ordinary charcoal in different in a number of ways. They burn longer, high heat value, and low emissions compared to the ordinary charcoal. Yep.
Thank you, John. This is a great encouragement, actually. Okay, next question. Are there any set standards to guide the quality of the products for reuse? If they exist, who sets them? I guess maybe that's a question
Yeah,
to all of you.
yeah. I think on our side, maybe just speaking generally, especially around how do you ensure that the waste or the human waste is correctly treated so that we don't have any pathogens that would end up in any of the end products. So first of all, we do have a lab internally that does those tests just to make sure that whatever it is that we're providing out there is safe. But on top of that, we have certification from some of the main bodies in Kenya that have to do with standards as well as plant health. And also here I'm talking about the Kenya Bureau of Standards, KEBS. We have the the Kenya Plant and Health Inspectorate, KEFIS, and also I would say the National Environment Management Authority. So all these are involved in our processes just to make sure that everything we do is actually safe for use either by farmers, for the animal feed, as well as agricultural inputs.
Thank you, Joseph. John?
Yes, there exist standards for these products. That is briquettes. Initially, we used to get standard from South Africa, but I'm happy to say that through collaborative with the stakeholders, the KEBS, and other relevant bodies, Kenya now have set standard for briquettes. But again, we have regulatory authorities like NEMA, that is National Environment and Management Authority, which ensures that the collection and transportation of sludge is in a safe manner. So those private truck or vacuum exhauster operators, they have to be licensed by those by NEMA, that body. And also, they have to be licensed by NAWASCO because also NAWASCO has a standard way of operations. So they have to operate in a safe manner. And Nawasco also, our mother company, has an ISO certified laboratory where we do test of the wastewater and everything that gets into Nawasco. We also collaborate with the learning institution, that is Egerton University and Nairobi University, to carry out these tests on briquettes on a regular basis. But I'm happy to report that we are certified by KEBS. They have taken our products, done their independent maybe analysis, and approve the product. So yes, there are those regulations, and we ensure that across the value chain we meet all the standards and regulations. Yep.
Thank you very much. Joy, do you have anything to add about this question? Um,
Thank you so much, Tina.
yeah.
I can just support what Joseph and John have said about this. Yes, there are those bodies that set the guidelines for the reuse of these products, sanitation related products. But what I can say is that they have had a very big push. Since these are innovations, this was not initially happening within our Kenyan space. Actually, now they have set the ground for that. It has come to be realized that on-site sanitation and these innovative technologies is the way to go to address our sanitation challenges. And I would also say that what they are doing has, in a way, seriously contributed to the development of the sanitation management policy, which is now in the parliament and may be approved for use very soon. So what they have done is really great. They have set space for any other actors who may join the sanitation business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joy. We move to the next question from Yusuf. What is the community uptake on the reuse of the byproducts? I guess that's also an
Yeah,
interesting and quite relevant question to all of you.
yeah, quite an interesting one. And Tina, if you allow, I can combine that with the one from Namaka. It's talking about adoption.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
and, and I think, I mean, the uptake has been very phenomenal. If I can speak, especially on the organic fertilizer side, we are barely keeping up with the demand in terms of production.
Hmm.
So that, orders are fulfilled and you have orders pending the maturing of the organic fertilizer, awaiting the distribution. So it's been very, very good. And I think, especially if you look at it from the perspective of soil conditioning, because a lot of farmers in Kenya use the chemical fertilizer, and over time that ends up depleting the soil. So you have to really invest more in terms of conditioning the soil so that it can have better nutrients and be able to provide better solutions in terms of the results. I think in terms of adoption, Namaka, and probably maybe the link here is around, okay, what is this product made of, and how is the adoption going to be? Indeed, I must say initially that was a concern for us in terms of how are people going to take up this, considering the raw material from which it's been made. But it's been very interesting just going out and engaging in user education on, for example, the processes that we go through to process this product to the end final product. And with that, people are very satisfied and are happy to use the product. So I think the investment, I would say, goes into user education, and as once that is done, then and people are able to see the value add in terms of increased production, then it's very easy for people to adopt and use the product.
Great, great. Thank you. John, would you also like to combine those two questions, or would you like to reply to them one by one? One of them is
And
on the uptake on reuse of the byproducts, and the other one by Amaka is related on the with the adoption of the use of briquettes and fertilizers, which are very similar.
yeah, I think I'll also echo what Joseph has said. It's all about creating that awareness. Because even us, when we were developing these products, we had to do a market study, involve the communities around. They would come participate in the production process so that they have that buy-in, they have that confidence that truly these pathogens are eliminated. there is no smell. You do a lot of marketing demonstration activities. You probably maybe do some nyama choma with them. They enjoy as they bite those nyama choma. You have that focus group discussion. They give you their feedback, what they expect in terms of quality product. So we did all that, and through our marketing team and through our mother company, we have been able to spread the word. We tell people this product is made out of ABCD, and it has been made through this process to ensure that we have addressed these issues. So they are comfortable with it, and I can assure you that the uptake is good. Those who have switched to our products, they really don't want to go back to the ordinary charcoal, simply because they save a lot of time. There's no smell. There's no issues with briquettes. So the uptake is good. There's no that negative perception anymore. We have been able to address that even through the community health volunteers in collaboration with the county government. We have been able to address those challenges, and the uptake is good, and the demand is there, and we are actually working to scale up the production because the demand is high. Yep.
Great. So the what I'm taking from both your messages is that actually the users, once they start using the products, they don't have this kind of perception anymore. Joy, I don't know if Mary University has been doing some studies on a larger scale about the user perception of reuse products from human waste.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tina. I'm just here to support my colleagues on what they are saying about the uptake, which is excellent. I have had some trials with the first cohort of the sanitation students. We made some chicken feed using the BSF, which was fed on human waste. These are FS-derived products.
Yes.
We reared chicken, which was broiler chicken, and that was last year between July and September. We tried this within the university community and also the community surrounding the university. And what I can be able to attest from this is that uptake is perfect. We had our open farmers day. The farmers were very excited and happy to hear that surely our waste can make products which can be useful in enhancing their livelihood. And up to now, these farmers are still requesting for that chicken, and they are also, the market also for the BSF is very high. Actually, we can't meet it because we are just on a research. It's just a pilot. But what I can say with awareness, like Joseph and Givenji said, these products have a very high uptake in the market among the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joy. Next question is to Joseph. What about other management of fresh life toilets?
Yeah, good question. Part of the design of the toilet was actually aimed at addressing that problem. So, our toilet is urine diverting. So there's a separation of the solid waste, the feces, and the urine, which is one of the main reasons why you have smell. Because then, when the two combine, of course, with urine, there's normally a lot of smell. So that separation in itself helps in reducing the level of smell. And then number two, so we have normally we encourage users to use what we call the sodas, which is more like wood chips, fine wood chips that covers the waste. So basically, it does two things. One, once the waste is covered, then it's not exposed to the elements, and therefore the smell is covered. And then it helps to reduce the amount of water in the waste, so that you have more dry waste, and therefore there will be no smell coming out, or there will be no flies like coming on. Important to say that even as we reduce on the deforestation, we're also focusing on other products that can be used in place of sawdust. So whether these be like bagasse from sugarcane. So we are still sourcing for more material that can be used, even as we are cognizant of the fact that deforestation is a big concern.
Thank you. The next question by Karen is related to challenges experienced with the uptake of the byproducts, but I think you already covered this part. The next one, apart from the school sanitation guidelines, are there any other law regulations that assist in the implementation of the best practices? I think we touched a little bit, but maybe I don't know if you're aware of any other law regulations that are being developed.
Yeah, maybe just to speak a little bit, especially on container-based sanitation. So before, when we started operations, there wasn't really any guideline or regulation around container-based sanitation. So it was quite a big challenge because
Mhm.
you're introducing a product and people are not really sure where to categorize it because the regulation framework does not provide for that. It's almost a case of sometimes regulation follows innovation. So if you think about the tech sector, a lot of this regulation has come after the innovations are already in place. So, but glad to report that we now have a policy that governs sanitation and including container-based sanitation. I think it's called the Kenya Environment, Sanitation and Hygiene Policy, the cash policy. So that has helped a lot in terms of just mainstreaming this new innovation and ensuring that there are guidelines that will help in terms of supporting that by many actors.
Thank you. Thank you, Joseph. Anything else to be added from the other two panelists, or do you want to move to the next question?
Yes, I think before we move to the next question, I would want to add to what Joseph has said. In Nakuru County, I think collaboratively the health department and
Yeah.
also the water and energy department, we have been able to develop these policies and guidelines, and they have been enacted. They are now acts. So I think because of the gaps that existed before, since these are new emerging technologies and gaps within sanitation, so we had to discuss them and with the policymakers, and we have come up with those policies. So they are now in place. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. So the next question is, which areas of sanitation do you think needs more research and development?
Maybe I can go first. I think
Yeah.
yeah, sure. I think from our experience as Nawasco, if you look at the whole value chain of sanitation from the collection to now the reuse, I think the reuse bit needs a little bit more of research and development in terms of maybe the products that can be generated from the same, the laws and regulations, and also the technologies. Because you find these are new and emerging technologies and they're not locally available. So people have to invest more on research and development. But you are aware some of these has been implemented in other countries. So for benchmarking and also replicating the same, I, I think there's a need for more research and development on that particular part.
Thank you, John. Joseph, do you have
Yeah.
anything to add?
No, fully agree with John, and I think specifically around the reuse for urine. I think that's an area that needs a lot of research, and especially around how do you make that process cost efficient? Because I think investment also has to make sense in terms of the end product that is going to be produced, so that it can be affordable to the end user.
Yeah. Thank you. Joy, do you
Yeah,
have anything to add?
yes,
This is
thank you,
your,
Tina.
yes.
Yes, I have something to add to what my colleagues have said. These are emerging trends in sanitation, the innovations. Actually, I can say it's still a gray area in terms of technologies applicable across the entire sanitation chain. And more to that, we also seriously need to think about behavior change, because we may develop a lot of technologies, but without working on the behaviors of the people on the ground, it becomes a real challenge. So I think we need really to address on the issues of behavior change. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very good point. Yeah, without understanding well the behavior change, it's very difficult to implement any types of technologies. Okay, the next one is being addressed already, the regulatory framework related to fresh life. Okay, this next question is what are the some of the operational challenges? It's been addressed to Joseph, but I think it speaks to both of the speakers. So maybe I mean yeah, we always tend to focus on on the achievements and the positives, but there are always challenges. So it's always good to make everyone aware. So maybe there are some participants in the room that would like to undertake similar ventures. What would be your advice, or what would you like to share about the challenges?
Yeah, I think as with any venture, there always be bound to be challenges, and I think especially for us looking at the our focus area, which is the urban informal settlements, there are quite a number of challenges, especially around infrastructure. So you find in most of these areas, you don't have very good access in terms of roads, for example. So and for us, we have to ensure that all the waste is removed from the different facilities that we put up in the community. So we've had to think through what models to use because use of vehicles, as you would know them ordinarily, may not be able to access some of these areas. So focusing more on other modes of transport like push carts, and also looking at right now we are looking at how we can mechanize some of these uh, operations so that at least yes, number one, they're able to navigate in the smaller areas, but also they are big powered so that you don't have to use that human labor to push as happening with the push carts. The other challenge also is to do with the water table. So you'll find because of the way the construction has happened, very close together, there is no provision for water to flow. So you find the water table tends to be very high. And so in our construction of these facilities, so we have to take care of that, which means then you probably are going to invest more in terms of an up structure so that the facility is a bit raised and ensure that water doesn't percolate into the waste, which would contribute to contamination. So quite a number of challenges. And I think the way we're also dealing with this is to work very closely with government to also be able to engage them on some of these issues and look for solutions that would work to address these problems.
Thank you, Joseph. John, would you like to share some of your challenges?
Yes, there is a number of challenges, especially what Joseph has said. With any new technology or any new initiative, you're about to face a number of challenges. For us, from our experience, the infrastructure is the real challenge here because you can imagine this is a new technology. It has not been done elsewhere. We are the first one in the country or rather in Africa or rather in the world to make briquettes from fecal sludge, especially the carbonized fecal sludge. So you don't have anywhere to benchmark. For some of the technologies, you don't know what will work for you and what will not work for you. For instance, sludge from different places differ in characteristic. We have invested in some equipment that works elsewhere comfortably there with their sludge. But when you bring to work with our sludge, they are not compatible because of the composition of our sludge. So there's a need for more research to establish the best technology that fits or suits the nature of your sludge. Also, another challenge is awareness, as maybe it was alluded by Joy. Some of these are maybe member of citizens. They don't know why there is a need for this proper collection containment. They just want to continue their business as usual, and they want to go for the cheaper way of probably disposal of sludge. So maybe addressing those issues is a challenge, but it's something that we've been able to address through collaboration with county government and other stakeholders. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The next question is related to municipal solid waste management, and are there any measures in place to control proper management of municipal solid waste?
Uh, yes, maybe I can go first. I think in Nakuru County, we have measures in place,
Mhm.
and we collaboratively work with waste recyclers. They have been provided with a dumping site where all the solid waste goes, and about 60% of this waste is organic waste. So the rest of the waste can be recycled, and people have been recycling that waste. So we have measures that have been put in place. We have Solid Waste Management Act, which is now, I think, in the process. It's a bill in the process. So collaboratively, I think we have come up with a solid waste management maybe policy or guidelines for Nakuru County.
Okay, wonderful.
So, yeah, so maybe to speak specifically to what we are doing in as far as solid waste is concerned, we are also now collecting organic waste from hotels, restaurants, park houses, and processing the same in the same format that I had talked about. So
Okay.
that's also part of the contribution to the reduction of municipal solid waste.
Okay, wonderful. Moving to the next one, that's I think it was related to John. What are some of the enabling environment that you have provided for pit emptiers and the vacuum truck operators?
Sorry, repeat that question again.
What are some of the enabling environment that you have provided for pit emptiers and the vacuum truck operators?
Uh, we have trained them on issues of occupational health and safety so that they protect themselves when they are carrying out these kind of activities. We have also shown them the importance of always being in protective gears and also providing friendly, maybe charges when it comes to the disposal or discharging the waste when they collect from the communities to Nakuru Water Treatment Plant. So the charges are fair, so they are able to operate their business without a lot of challenges here and there. They also, we have linked them to NEMA. They're able to get those licenses in time, so they don't experience those challenges. And I think in Nakuru, especially in Nakuru, I think the operations are very efficient. When probably you pay for your certificate today, you'll get it. We have also linked them to the Department of Health in county, so they're able to get the necessary maybe vaccinations against those common diseases. So they are aware now. The most important is just making them aware that for them to operate in a safe manner, you need to maybe probably have this kind of certification, be in a formal group that is registered, and then we have also provided them with a collection point so that they don't have to transport the fecal sludge far. When the pit emptiers get the sludge from the pit, we have provided them with what we call primary collection points. This is where they transfer the sludge, and Nawasco will just go and transfer that sludge from the point or from the source, not the treatment plant. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Another question from Amaka. It's directed to Joseph, but I think it's also relevant for um, both speakers. How friendly will you say that the enabling environment is in Kenya for sanitation businesses in terms of government support, legal framework, and financial arrangements? Very important question.
Yeah, very, very, very important. I think I would say it's still work in progress. Obviously, we've made quite some significant strides, starting off from what I mentioned in terms of the absence of any regulation that would recognize container-based sanitation to a place where now we can already engage. So that's quite a significant improvement. I think what we will continue to pursue is especially on the financial arrangements, just to make sure that obviously the sanitation business becomes sustainable. You would definitely need support from government. So that's the area that we are pursuing, both in terms of partnerships and working out modalities in which this can be seen as a complement to the sanitation options that are already being provided, and obviously now being able to put in financial support to be able to provide for those communities that then use these alternative sanitation.
Okay, thank you. John, would you like to add anything on that particular question? Not sure if we lost you again. John? Maybe maybe we lost him temporarily. Joy, do you have anything to add regarding this aspect?
Thank you very much, China.
Hmm.
Just as Joseph has said, this is actually work in progress. These initiatives are not there, especially in regard to on-site sanitation. But what we realize now is the government has come to realize on-site sanitation is the way to go to save or to solve the sanitation crisis in Kenya. So, and being spearheaded by Synergies, Sanitation, and in our school, these we are coming to see a lot of government support, and we're also seeing that there are a lot of regulations and standards which are being put in place. So actually, this is work in progress. Initially, it was not there. You were working on a space that was vacant. Nothing was there. We started from a 0 point, but we see and we can say that the future is bright because the government is now on board to support these sanitation solutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Um, okay, we can move to the next one. I see that there are so many questions flowing, so I will start being a little bit more selective. And I'm sure that it would be okay if a participant reach out separately. There is a question from Amaka again. Nawasco is a big plant. Are there any measures in place to reduce the effect of burning of the sludge on the climate? So in other words, do you have any measures to avoid any contribution to climate um, related emissions? And yeah, what is your work on this?
Yes, it's a good question because one would wonder how do you control the emissions when you're burning the sludge? But the technology that you are using has taken care of that. It has a number of scrappers and purifiers of the flue gases and also the smoke. Yeah, so the smoke from the fire chamber is channeled separately. It goes through a set of scrappers where all the suspended particles are removed. And before the final smoke is released to the atmosphere, it has to reach the measures or standards that are set by the standard by the regulatory bodies. Also for the flue gases, because some of these gases are also combustible, after purification process, they are channeled back to the carbonization unit where it is used as a source of heat for carbonization. So control measures have been put in place to ensure that we don't again pollute the environment when we are doing carbonization.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
That I think addresses one of the other questions about the effect on the environment. There is a question about the required quality checks before releasing the products to the market. Any standards that you're using for handling of fecal sludge? Or, well, I think these are two different questions, but let's focus on the quality check before releasing the products to the market. Do you use specific standards or regulations? How do you control this part? Maybe to both of you.
Yes, for the fuel part, we do in-house testing. There are those easy tests that you can conduct them in-house. Some of them is just to burn the briquettes before we do the batch testing. You observe some parameters like the smoke, like the smell, and how the product is burning, because you have to give out quality products. But on a regular basis, we take the products to the laboratory for analysis, and some of the parameters that they check includes the maybe the ash content, the calorific values, and other parameters to ensure that the product meets the required standards. So that one is done on a regular basis.
Okay, thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, I think I had mentioned this earlier when I was talking about the regulating bodies, KEBS and KEFIs. But maybe
Yeah.
just to add on some of the tests that we also do, especially on the organic fertilizer, is we also conduct like farmers' field tests. So we go to farmers, they set up a small bed, plant using our organic fertilizer and compare that with what they are using currently, and they're able to see the difference in terms of production. So again, just making sure that we're able to get farmers to verify the effectiveness of the product.
Okay. But then, do you maybe just to add on to this question, do you have measures of different pathogens, ascaris content in your products? I mean, obviously with the combustion, probably it's dealt with, but for the composting process, there could be a chance. It depends how the process and what the conditions are. Do you measure regularly the pathogen content as well?
Yeah, we do. As I mentioned earlier, we do have an internal lab
Okay.
that, and
Hmm.
the purpose really is to make sure that they test all these products to ensure that there are no pathogens before they are released. So that's kind of the first layer of certification. The second one now is something that's done by the other regulating bodies.
Okay, wonderful.
And maybe
Yeah.
to add on the same, yeah, if you allow me, maybe to add on the same, it's good to mention that the sludge that you are using is from domestic, not industrial sludge, because what we have established in terms of heavy metals, the industrial waste will always have a higher level of heavy metals, but the domestic waste doesn't have a higher levels of heavy metals. So we have to ensure that our product, in terms of pathogens, the heavy metals, they are within the allowed standards by WHO and other regulatory bodies. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next question. That's a very practical question. How much of biomass is obtained from a truck full of sludge?
Um, Maybe from our perspective, it depends.
Yeah.
It's not we don't have a certain figure, concrete figure, simply because either the sludge is coming from pit latrine and the solid content is higher, as opposed to when the sludge is coming from a septic tank. But basically, when the two are blended and you want to get an average of how much you get, maybe a truck of 10, maybe like 10,000 liters or 10 cubic meters, you'll get the solid content is about 2%, which you can use for briquette production. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm just scrolling to see quite a few of the questions, the additional questions have been addressed already. Um, calorific value. Um, how that's a very challenging question. How do you position yourself in the strive for clean energy?
Uh, for clean energy, you compare with the ordinary charcoal, because we are looking at what are we substituting, what are we replacing. We want people to avoid ordinary charcoal because of one, the emissions, and is a bit cleaner than ordinary charcoal. When we do carbonization in a controlled environment, volatiles and smoke are eliminated. So this one presents a more cleaner products compared to the ordinary charcoal. Again, we encourage people to use the improved cook stoves. And when you do so, these cook stoves are designed in a way that the burning is higher, or rather, the thermal efficiency of the cook stove is higher. And this ensures that there is a proper burning of these products, because the smoke and other elements is a byproduct of incomplete combustion. So if you combine the two, an improved cook stove and an improved fuel, you get a cleaner way of cooking. So
I think we may have lost John for a while.
Maybe
can
Tina
you?
can add something to that.
Yes, go for it, Joy. Sorry,
Yeah,
John, we lost you for a while.
yeah, thank you. I can just say that the briquettes, we all know that this is a product from waste material, and that is our feces. So if this feces was left around in the environment, you'd have quite a number of adverse effects. So if you really compared to the savings in terms of what this waste would have done into the environment, and that product which has been recovered for use as an energy source, we can see these two things are not comparable. The normal charcoal, this is where you burn the trees, but for the briquettes, this is a product that you get from our product, which is waste, which would have adverse effects on the environment. So maybe from my position, I would say you really can't be able to compare these two other than promote the use of briquettes because of the other savings we have on the environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joy. Um, I would go through maybe just maybe a few more questions and then we would wrap up the session because I think also our speakers could be quite tired already, but it's great to see all this interest. Um, I wanted to ask you, there was a question, I'm just scrolling to see where it was. It was about how do you deal with menstrual products and nappies? Do you have any particular approach in your treatment technologies?
So for us, yeah, we recognize that that's a waste stream that obviously would come out of the same. So what happens in the urban informal settlements, all that would find its way into a pit. So if they're using pit latrines. But for us, so what we do is with the user education training that we provide to the users of our facilities, we also couple that with provision of containers that are specifically marked and labeled so that if someone comes with a sanitary pad or a diaper, then they have a place where that will be placed. So when we are doing the collection of the rest of the waste, we also do collect that and we aggregate and then send it up for incineration. So we have a provision, a process that allows for that to be managed.
Wonderful. John, do you want to add something on your side?
Yes, I think we get all manner of waste through the sewer system and also what is collected from the pit latrines and septic tanks. And we usually say waste is a waste if it's wasted. But for us, this forms part of what we use for making charcoal. We use this waste in our carbonizer equipment where it is controlled, it's safely constructed in such a way that you can burn this waste in a way of incinerating them, but you recover that heat energy to do the carbonization to kill the pathogen. So we are not having any waste in our site. We use this waste to help in processing the other form of waste. Yeah.
Wonderful. I move to the next question. What becomes of what do you do with the effluent from the sludge after taking the solids? Do you have processes of solid liquid separation? Do you dry it first, dewater it?
Yes, we have. We are working at a wastewater treatment plant where we have a conventional treatment plant, and all the effluent, after we have done this cleaning, after the sludge has settled down, all the effluent goes through the treatment process. Uh, the same way the wastewater goes through a certain treatment process, and until we achieve the levels of BOD and COD that are required, then it is discharged off. But the effluent is treated before discharge.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Joseph, you separate urine and solids, so you don't have this problem. Okay. There's been a very interesting question that I'm trying to find. Um, I just it's very there's so many, but the question was how do you think, what do you think about the scalability? Can your technologies cover a large part of, let's say, Nairobi? Is there a potential? How where you are currently, and how do you think this? How do you see the scaling process in the next couple of years?
In
Yeah,
terms of
go ahead, John.
Uh, in, in terms of fecal sludge management, it presents a number of opportunities if you look at it
Yeah.
from the collection, containment, and transportation. And these challenges are almost similar across the different regions in the country. And these present opportunities for replication of what we are doing if we are successful to other counties. And we have had a lot of interest from other counties to replicate what you are doing in their respective regions. In terms of sustainability, yes, because you find like in our region, Nakuru City, we have a lot of fecal sludge and the population keeps on growing. So we expect the wastewater will keep on increasing, which ensures that we have a sustainability. And with the market, demand is there. So we are sure that these products that you can sell and export to other regions, and the technology can be replicated because we have built the capacity of local technicians and providers of these solutions. So yes, the replicability is there and can be done elsewhere.
Thank you. Joseph.
Yeah, I think I would agree with John, and to also say that we are now beyond the proof of concept stage. We've actually been able to demonstrate to both to users as well as government that this is an innovation that is scalable, that can be able to meet the needs of communities, especially in the urban informal settlements. And the advantage we have is in terms of, for example, aggregating the waste, it becomes very easy because the urban informal settlements have very high or dense population. So you can actually be able to access most of the households within a very short kind of distance. And so that helps in terms of reducing on the transportation costs, as well as ensuring that there is a easy reach to where communities live. So as I said earlier, we do have an ambitious goal to actually ensure that we are scaling up to reach 1 million people with hygienic sanitation. And so that's really part of our growth path to scale.
Okay, wonderful. Um, there is another question. Do you use any other products apart from the input from the on-site sanitation in your technologies? What products and what is the implication on the cost if you do? Or are you purely focused on the inputs coming from on-site sanitation?
Yeah. I think for us, yes, we do use other solid waste, which we combine with the fecal sludge, of course, to improve the quality of the final products. We combine biomass, for instance, the sawdust, which is a nuisance waste. If it's safely carbonized, you can combine it at a 50-50%, and you achieve a product that performs better than the ordinary charcoal. In case, because we are trying to address a number of challenges, that is waste management and also the solid waste management and wastewater. If you look at the organic market waste, some of them can be dried, carbonized, and also used as part of the raw material feedstock for briquette production. And we are not limited to only the two. You can use bagasse, macadamia shells, and other products that you can combine. Yes. So there is that room for combination because at the end of the day, you want to achieve a product that meets the end user's expectation and also meets the standard set out here.
Okay. Another question is, has Navasco thought of infiltrating the market with pressurized biofuels in cylinders? A huge market gap exists currently. If not, what are the main challenges blocking such a move?
It's a good question, and I think that's now we are in the path to scale and diversify our operations. We are looking at the challenges and the solutions that we can provide to the society. And the fuel is a big challenge to almost everyone in the country and almost all over the world. The prices have really gone higher up. The only challenge we have is the investment, the capital, because it's capital intensive. The technologies are there, but it's capital intensive. Also, it requires a number of study to establish whether the fuselage alone does it have capacity to generate sufficient biogas with certain parameters, or we need to co-generate it using maybe organic market waste. So that's the discussion that we are currently having, and we are looking forward to scaling and providing that solution to the society. We also need to look at the policy, what it says for maybe containerized biogas. So we are also working with the policymakers, the regulators, to see how best this one can be addressed.
Great.
Maybe,
Next
China, I
question.
can add something on this.
Yes, Joy, please go.
Thank you so much. I remember there's a question that it asked about the research gaps in sanitation previously that you addressed earlier.
Yes.
So, yeah, because I see we have very many students, the MSc students. I think they are coming to realize that there's a lot which still needs to be done in this space of sanitation. What we have from Synergy and in our school, these are just innovations which have been implemented to show the government and the counties that it is possible. But it's still, the space is still there, it is still wide, a lot still can be done. So if they can link up with maybe Joseph and John, these gaps can be closed. A lot still need to be done. It's an open space.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Joy. You're completely right. Um, there is another question which is quite interesting to Joseph, which we touched a little bit earlier. Is the Evergrow organic fertilizer 100% pathogen free?
Yeah, yes, it is. So, and that's the goal really, to ensure that no pathogens find their way into farms or into uh, people's animals. So and that's why we invest in those tests to make sure that that's done. In terms of what crops you can use, basically the organic fertilizer is a soil conditioner, so kind of improves the soil's ability to um, hold nutrients, and so can be used for any kind of crops. Obviously, if you want to see like significant impact over a shorter period of time, obviously the horticultural crops would give you a very good opportunity for that.
Thank you. I think there are very many more questions, but there is quite a bit of repetition already. So I would like actually to finish off with two questions. One of them is coming from Daniel. Is sanitation getting livened up among sanitation and wash experts only after failing to attend the MDGs on this? He's concerned about 20 million Kenyans still use rudimentary latrines. We can also park this question because I had my closing question to you, and it's a little bit provocative, but also looking maybe at a greater at the bigger picture. And my question to you was, do you see your ventures contributing? Do you see that using your ventures and maybe some other colleagues that have similar ventures helping to solve the sanitation problem? Well, firstly, maybe you can focus on Nairobi, but in Kenya, and most importantly, do you think this would be achievable by 2030 when we have the deadline for the SDG 6.2? How do you see what you're doing actually fitting into this picture? And do you feel positive that with the work and the scale that you're doing at the moment, this would be the solution to solve this challenge, particularly in your country by 2030?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think one that all of us need to wrestle with in terms of how do we make sure that everyone has access to safe and hygienic sanitation, because that's really the goal. Uh, I think we consider ourselves as a part of a bigger picture in terms of different operators working together to tackle the problem. Obviously, government being a very big stakeholder in this. And I think what we've done in as far as our work is to actually demonstrate that you do have alternative technologies that can be utilized to actually get people closer to safe sanitation. And I think the question now is around how do you then work together with the different actors to actually amplify this within not just Nairobi, but even the rest of the cities in Kenya, in Africa, and globally. So I think it requires concerted effort and working together to make sure that everybody is actually getting involved in this space. Again, to Daniel's question, uh, yeah, I think now we need to really open up. It's no longer, sanitation is no longer an issue that or preserve of sanitation experts. I think the recognition even from the SDGs is that it's a global problem that is affecting everybody. If you look at it from the health perspective in terms of impact, and so it actually needs to be an issue that is discussed by everybody, people working together to actually look at solutions that would actually be able to solve the problem and get people to a level where they have access to hygienic and safe sanitation.
Great. Thank you, Joseph. John, would you like to add on?
I think Joseph has really addressed that quite very well. I think maybe just to add on the same is to emphasize that there is quite effort by the government, both the national government, the county governments, to ensure that at least even if we don't meet it 100%, there will be a big percentage change or increase in awareness and improvement of sanitation. So I think there's quite a lot of activities taking place at the moment. There is quite a lot of interest by development partners who are working closely with us to support us, both in technical capacity, providing resources here and there to ensure that we all achieve that goal jointly, both by ensuring the enabling policies, environment by the government. I think there is a lot of effort by all the stakeholders or players to ensure that that SDG is met. So we hope and we trust because there's a lot of opportunity developers to tap into this sanitation value chain and benefit from the same. So that will also
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so
Maybe
much,
Tina, I
John.
can chip
Yes,
in on
Joy.
this.
Joy, please. Yes.
Thank you so much. What I can say is for a very long time, our Kenyan system had seriously focused on sewer-based sanitation. Actually, up to now, you only have a coverage of 17% to the conventional sewer systems. But the good news is the government has recognized the on-site sewer-based approaches to sanitation. Synergy, NAWASCO have proved that these interventions are possible. They can be able to address the issues that we have. And with the current development of the sanitation management policy, we are really hopeful that things are going to change. And also, additionally, to say, our institutions are seriously focusing on sewer-based approaches to sanitation in terms of our training. We lacked the training on the appropriate personnel to handle the sanitation challenges we have in Kenya. So we are really hopeful, like as an institution with the very many students that we have, Master of Science in Sanitation, we will be channeling out experts who in different counties will be able to go and work with their counties and also work in the government to ensure that some of these interventions have been implemented. And then additionally to say there's something that I mentioned about behavior change and people recognizing that they have a right to sanitation. Because there are times that you think the government is not to blame, but you are to blame because you don't request for sanitation projects. We only consider water. We ask the government to give us water projects, but sanitation projects, we don't talk about that. So it is a two-way thing. As much as the government is doing, there's also this issue you're talking about behavior change. Let community know what they have right to so that they can demand from it from the government. And then the government, through these interventions, can be used to solve this crisis, the sanitation crisis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy. Yes, we need definitely more experts. That's why we need to keep growing the Global Sanitation Graduate School network, and we need to have more graduates. I'm so glad to see there's so many participants from Mero University, so I would like to really congratulate you on that. And I would like to finish off with this great question to both speakers. What would be your advice to someone thinking of getting into the same business? Your future young colleagues, what would you advise them?
Uh, I would like to tell them that shit is money, or rather, human waste is money. There's a number of opportunities along the sanitation value chain. It's now upon us to do more research, to come up with innovative ideas, and we scale up this together. So there's quite a number of opportunities. I would like also to encourage you, this is not a unique thing. It was there even before we were born. I would like to ask them to read Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 4 to 12, where Ezekiel was commanded to eat bread baked on using human waste as the fuel. So it's something that I think was there, something that is biblical. So don't avoid maybe this topic. Let's join hard. Let's address the great awareness about the opportunities within the sanitation. And I think together we will achieve the goals and we will also benefit from the same. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, I think yeah, great response from John, and I think I would say to anyone who has an interest and wants to venture in this direction, take the first step. I think now with the benefit of Meru University, we now do have training being provided. So again, you will not be starting from zero. Really, it's a question of even as you get that training, look for opportunities to network with people who are already in that space and look at what opportunities exist. I think John has mentioned one of them, which is on research. There are quite a number of research areas that would be useful or benefit to the sector. You have the operational aspects, you have the financing aspects as well. Behavior change, a very big component, really looking at what can be applied in terms of orienting people or changing people's behavior towards focusing on safe sanitation as well as use of products that come from sanitation waste. So I think there are many opportunities. Yeah, reach out and get connected.
Thank you so much. Um, Before we close the session, Jory, I would like to give you the your final words, maybe to extend something to the speakers, since you are the co-organizer.
Thank you so much, Tina, for this and moderating this wonderful session. What I can be able to say and tell all the participants is Nobody is safe until we are all safe. Let's not assume we are safe because we have some nice systems in our houses when others are discharging into the environment. Because in a way, it will find its way back into our water bottle and it will affect us. So nobody is safe until we are all safe. And then to my colleagues, that is Engineer John and Mr. Joseph, I'm really honored to have had you on board. I know you are doing perfect work and always thought about this opportunity that you can be able to speak about what you're doing to the world, to other countries, especially those who are experiencing the same challenges that you are experiencing in Kenya. So I know you are seriously upskilling. I know you are seriously working with our students. Uh, I'm so optimistic that in the near future, we'll be able to reach out to very many counties in Kenya and also to other countries in the world. So for the participants who are from maybe Asia, I can be able to avail the contacts of John and Joseph to you so that you can be able to contact them for more info. Otherwise, I'm very grateful for your great presentations. And to the presenters, thank you very much for giving us your 2 hours. That's actually a lot of time, but we are really grateful. We are hopeful that you've learned something from this session, and more so, it will help you in your day to day activities. Thank you very much. Tina, thank you very much. Namaka, thank you very much. I look forward to working with you more and more. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Joy. I would like to extend my gratitude to you for the hard work that you did behind. Thank you, John. Thank you, Joseph. The presentations were amazing. And it also showed the great interest. We were overwhelmed by different questions. Um, so I'm sure that there would be other follow-up conversations. It was a great contribution to the GSGS series, and then yeah, it was a great learning curve for me as well. And last but not least, I would like to thank Amaka, who was sitting on the background, but she was doing quite a lot of support in the technical aspect. So with this, we would like to close the session. Thank you once again for your timing, and I wish you a pleasant week ahead. Bye.
Bye bye.